Oh, instead of paying 2,500, now you're going to pay 5,000.
Polk County homeowner Mike Johnson is irate about property insurance costs.
When you send me a bill that's 87% higher, in what country?
When he bought his home in 2014, his premium with Olympus Insurance was just below $1,000. In 2021, it went from $1,200 to $3,000.
They came back and said, well, if you have your roof redone, we'll take it back to the 1,500.
Johnson wrote to the governor and the Department of Financial Services. DFS responded, stating that the Office of Insurance Regulation had approved a 55.9% rate increase for Olympus, adding there are additional factors which impact premiums, including claim history, age of roof, operating costs, costs for reinsurance, and projected losses.
I ended up switching companies. I switched to Allstate.
Allstate subsidiary Castle Key insured his home as is for $1,800. It jumped to $2,500 in 2022, and his most recent renewal
to almost 5,000. It was an 87% rate increase.
Hello, family. Welcome back to another episode of Journey to Harmony. I'm your host, Richard Harmon. Today, we want to talk about the crisis that's currently brewing in Florida. So over the past few years, the cost of living has risen dramatically. During the pandemic time, many people left states like California and New York and moved to Florida. The price of homes have continued to rise double digits for the past 2-3 years now, and issues have become even worse as insurance agencies such as Farmers, Allstate, AAA have all decided to either reduce their coverage or remove from the state altogether. Right now, we're facing a Hurricane Idalia, that's prepared to hit land. And what's going to happen is even more insurance companies are going to look to leave the state. I'm going to play a video here in just a moment. We'll watch that, come back and analyze and see how it affects you and I who live in different parts of the country.
I went through the policy coverage and found the company is claiming the cost to replace his home has gone up $7,000 in the last year. It states the total premium includes a $2,131 increase due to rate change.
They say it's going to cost $637,000 to redo the house. That's incorrect. You can rebuild our house for probably $300 or $350.
I reached out to Allstate to ask about Johnson's 87% increase, and they told me in a statement the cost of providing reliable protection for Florida homeowners has risen dramatically from factors like inflation and extreme weather. In recent years, Florida insurers have claimed financial distress from excessive lawsuits, but now agent and president of South Shore Insurance, Michelle Mosher, says inflation is also hitting homeowners.
So when we run a replacement estimator, part of that is how much does it cost the insurance company to go back and rebuild? Not necessarily what you're purchasing it for, but the construction costs.
A new study by the International Insurance Society finds the U.S. leads the world with a 30% increase in the cost to replace a property in the last 5 years. Mosher says homeowners could consider cutting coverage in other areas if they have to.
What about your personal property? Or what about your loss of use? Or what about your deductibles? There are things there that we can tweak. There are things you could decide to self-insure, like your screen enclosure.
And overall, she says speak up and contact your local state reps.
If you could say one thing to your representatives, your governor, what would you say?
Tell them to stop screwing people. They have to have a resolve so that the people that are going to live in Florida can afford to live here.
In Polk County.
All right, perfect. So there we see there that the cost of insuring in Florida is rising astronomically. How does this affect Florida residents as well as those who are in nearby states as well as around the country? So with this, what's going to happen is that more people are going to begin to move out of Florida. So the cost of insuring is going to continue to rise. The cost of housing or to rebuild is going to continue to rise. There's opportunities for those who are in the trades, electricians, people who are plumbers, to rebuild these areas. You're going to need skills that likely are not in those particular states. So for those of you who are around the country who are looking to make some emergency money that will be likely double or triple from what your normal rate would be, this is an opportunity for you. But for those who are living in Florida, right, if you're sitting down and you're facing a cost of living increase that's double or triple what you're doing, you're likely going to end up moving. Now imagine this storm is set to hit about 14 million people. So with that, what's going to happen is that those 14 million people are going to have to be replaced somewhere. We had this happen last year with the hotels in Atlanta were completely booked and rates were double or triple what they normally are. This will continue to happen, but only in terms of a moving situation where people are just get fed up and just decide to move. places like Alabama, places like Tennessee, places like Georgia and South Carolina are going to continue to see people come into their states as they realize that living in Florida permanently is not going to be a particular option. Likely, what can happen is that those who own and who purchase this land from the homeowners will turn these spaces into parks, into things that are less expensive to rebuild. And then you'll have more space and more opportunity for those who are there, shrinking the livable land in Florida and making prices even higher than what they are now. What are your thoughts on this? Please comment below. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good day.